Grimace?
Just look at his face whenever he throws a bad throw. It's like,
Yeah,
like
just put an
grinding
actual
his
picture
teeth.
of Grimace.
No, that's not. Is that who is Grimace? Is that the guy from McDonald's?
Yeah.
Purple guy.
Yeah.
Remember they had the slushy?
That might not be the best word.
Like that one?
Teeth grind. This is probably the best one right here.
Good.
This is forecast.
Let's go.
About time.
Valentine.
Week 1 review coming in hot.
Week 1 review coming in hot.
Is this what you're gonna do the whole damn thing?
I don't know. I've just been waiting for our host to get us going. That's all I'm waiting for.
Yeah,
What's
that's
our
what we're
hostess
waiting
with
for.
the mostest right here?
He's got a hostess.
We have
I'm
been waiting
happy
though.
with that.
Oh yeah,
We've been waiting.
definitely.
We have been waiting
Yeah.
for a long time.
We are ready.
Nate
to
has
go.
been clamoring for something real to
Oh
talk
my
about.
gosh, man, you don't even know the half of it.
My
I mean, I'm
God.
talking to myself in my head at night about football. It's not good.
Yeah, my head is like grown like 3 sizes just because of all the.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
I thought you were just
Oh,
saying
I
close
thought
to
it was
the
always
goal.
that big.
I thought you were saying
Football
close to the
I
camera
watch.
today.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I've always had a big head, but. I don't know.
I'm freaking out, man. You are freaking out, man.
Are you freaking out over Kirk Cousins?
Kirk Cousins.
The grimace is back.
Grimace himself, purple people eater.
There's been a lot of stuff about this guy.
Dude, I'm freaking
So
out.
I'm
freaking
you're
out. I'm freaking out because all offseason we're saying Kirk Cousins is the guy. Kirk
Me and
Cousins.
you were. Me and you were at least. Me and you.
Everybody was.
I was
saying
in
it.
on Kirk.
Everybody was in on Kirk. Everybody said, dude, the Falcons are going to be good this year. They got Kirk Cousins. We think Drake London, Kyle Pitts. I said Darnell Mooney.
You did.
You did.
I'm panicking, bro.
You panicked.
My pants are off. I don't even know what that means. They're on fire, I think. There's some phrase right there, but I don't know it. I'm freaking out. Yeah, because Kirk Cousins was supposed to be good. And
Your
just-
pants are off. I don't think that's I don't think
Something-
that's the one.
Something's happening. Pants are off. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I mean,
That's how bad I'm freaking
I'm
out.
gonna agree. There's a small part of me freaking out. Like you guys, everybody knows I've been a Drake London guy for forever.
Yeah.
And Kirk did not inspire enough hope for me to be like, okay, he can take that jump. I still think he's gonna be a fine player. He'll probably he's not gonna return ADP value. I don't think that's gonna happen this year because he was drafted as a top 12 receiver in redraft leagues. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm worried about all those guys because of Cousins. It's nothing that any of them did in the game that really concerned me, but that Achilles injury on the plant foot, his back foot. I mean, I watched the cut up of a few throws where it was like he wouldn't step into it. Like he was standing on just his left foot and just letting him rip and one hopping him into guys, and it was like that might take a little bit more time than people think.
I'm not turning on Kirk Cousins as quick as you guys.
Well,
He's my boy. There's not. And I love the grimace. There's no way. There's no way I'm bailing on him yet.
I won't bail. I wouldn't say I'll bail.
Yeah.
But as far as week 1 players I'm concerned with, Kirk and the Falcons offense is probably towards the top of my list.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Now first of all, we got to mention the fact that the Steelers
it was the
are
Steelers.
legit.
Steelers.
defense.
That defense is solid.
If there's one thing the Steelers are
1985
going to have,
Bears right now.
I wouldn't say calm down.
Here's what I'll
Okay.
say. Aaron Donald's out of the league. There is no excuse if TJ Watt doesn't get Defensive Player of the Year this year. He is the best defensive player in football.
Killing it.
Dude, PFF is already coming out with that guy from the Detroit Lions.
Man,
Had the
Hayden-
best pass rate.
Listen,
Hutchinson?
Hutchinson did look
Yeah,
great.
dude.
He did look great. But TJ
He
Watt,
wasn't getting hold the whole game though.
TJ Watt is
TJ
an
Watt, like-
otherworldly talent.
He is, like you said, Aaron Donald. It's like, dude, you just watched one player. Like, you can watch a bunch of bums that are playing in the interior defensive line, but you're going to be like, this is boring. I'm going to go watch somebody. You watch TJ Watt, you're going to be like, dude, this is so freaking fun. Like, just watching him. Yeah, he's a great player.
I was not. Look, I'm a Steelers fan. I'm glad they won. I was not happy seeing him rain down on my boy Kirk Cousins. I was
Yeah,
not happy seeing that.
that's fair.
But
I will say, yeah, that is the thing, is Steelers have always had a good defense, but, like, I kind of need Kirk Cousins to come out and say, look, relax. Like, Aaron Rodgers, relax. It was
is that
one
hold on,
game.
is that what Aaron Rodgers said?
Yeah.
Okay.
He said, guys, it was
While
week
back,
one
yeah,
or
week
whatever.
one.
He was like, relax. flex. Like, but yeah, that's
Anyone
what
MVP.
I kind of
I was gonna say that.
I kind of need that though from Kirk Cousins to say, look, we're gonna get our shit together. We didn't know what we were doing. Something I don't know.
Well, that's the thing is if Kirk don't get his shit together, his shit's gonna be packed up and moved out
Yeah.
to that QB2 spot sooner than later. You know?
Yeah.
That, maybe not this year or anything like
Yeah.
that, but I mean,
Yeah, I'm panicking. I'm freaking out.
You're
I'm
freaking out?
Category 4 right now. I'm like putting like every effort that I can. I'm not sleeping all week to figure out what I can do week 2 to like lock in.
yeah, I'll say normally my answers are like a 1 or 2 out of 10 for worry. I'll give Kirk a 4. Like I'm more worried than I normally am week 1 about players.
Yeah, I mean that's fair, but I'll probably go 7, and the other 3 that I could have gone up to 10 is all just because of the Steelers.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's all. Otherwise, I'd be completely.
Yeah, that's decent. They shouldn't have to play teams that hard ever.
Yeah, sure.
Are you freaking out over Mark Andrews?
Well, Mark Andrews, he played not a great. Actually, he played a good defense.
Yeah, Chiefs use great defense.
Yeah, that is true.
It was clear they schemed for him. I'll say I'm not freaking out. Like I'm gonna stay calm, cool, collected here. There's a long track record of Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews succeeding. His snap percentage was still there. He still played the most snaps of any of the tight ends there. And there's going to be games where that is how defenses play them, and they're good enough that they can stop them. And Likely and Flowers and Henry and Hill are going to have to step up.
Yeah.
But there's also going to be teams. Half the league isn't the Chiefs defense.
Right.
Half the league is Lamar is going to cook you. So I think Andrews is going to have his games. He's going to be fine. But
I would probably be very low on the list of freaking out, just because it is like a game plan thing. Hey, like we didn't think Likely was going to be this involved with this many 2 tight end snaps. Like they were both on the field a lot, and
Yeah.
I mean Mark Andrews was on the field even more. But like obviously the Chiefs are a good defense. They know how to scheme well. They're like good teams do good things.
Yeah.
So like they're going to go after Mark Andrews, but I would still be a little worried because there's going to be some of those teams that are like, man, we don't believe you. We don't believe that Likely is that good. And I think there is going to be a few more of these games. So I don't think Mark Andrews is going to be like a top guy. But I mean, as a Likely believer, like I like that.
As a guy that witnessed him break the tight end receiving record.
Did I witness that?
Yeah, we both witnessed it. We were at the game.
I was more worried about TJ Watt. So.
Yeah, that's true. But I would be concerned if they were taking Mark Andrews off the
Right,
field
yeah.
to put Likely in.
Yeah.
Also, there's a little psychological factor here where if Likely doesn't have that game, is anybody really worried about Mark Andrews?
right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, true.
I'm thinking that. Also, another thing I want to mention is Likely was getting a lot. Okay, so he had the one really awesome touchdown
Yeah, that was an
Wait.
incredible play.
where Lamar was just running around and he hit him and then he made a great play.
Yeah.
But besides that, mostly Likely was just running in the flats.
Yeah, short,
Mhm.
shallow,
Yeah.
dump offs. A lot of it.
So
And also, I believe I wasn't really too concerned about where he was playing, but I think Likely and Andrews were playing a lot of slot areas where it's almost like you just got him as a slot receiver.
Oh yeah.
Which that's what Likely. I don't think he's a good blocker. He did have a really good block on somebody.
Oh, he
I watched it.
threw that guy.
But you could tell he was like, dude, I just did that, like, because he should have blocked that dude and kept blocking for Lamar. He could have blocked another guy, but I think he was like, oh, did I do that? Like,
So to your point about like them lining up in the slot and stuff like that, Likely was used as the motion man a lot. Like,
Yeah.
that was the thing I noticed was they were using him to determine what the defense was trying to do, and a lot of that ended up him standing up instead of having his hand in the dirt. And to me, that's just good coaching. Like that's what we wanted to see in Baltimore, right? Was Tom Monken comes over and he puts his best players on the field more.
yeah.
Like there's no reason that Nelson Aguilar and Rashad Bateman should be on the field more than Isaiah Likely based on what I saw last night. Or sorry, not last night, this week.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Though
I don't-
Bateman made a good catch.
actually, Bateman wasn't bad. It just
Yeah.
I did do the cut up of that video or that game, and Bateman didn't look bad.
Yeah.
It looks like Lamar this isn't looking his way at all.
Yeah, there was
It's
one
like an
throw. He,
afterthought in the offense.
I think there was another throw he had to Bateman that was deep, but I think it was just a little too high or
Right.
something like that.
Well,
But,
he wasn't even open. So
Was
it's
he?
Like, no.
yeah. Either way, I'm a little bit of a Bateman believer, but
It seems like we're all on the same page there, right? Like
Yeah,
you shouldn't
I
be
just-
worried about
not
Mark
really.
Andrews.
I'm not
Yeah.
worried about Mark Andrews.
He's Mark Andrews.
Definitely.
yeah,
I didn't see anything that told me he's bad at football.
yeah.
Not good.
It's just gonna spread the defenses out.
Yep, just might be a little less consistent than we've seen in previous years.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing that's concerned though, if you look at his stat line over the past 2 or 3 years, where he was like tight end 1, 2,
Right.
3, he's never had a game this bad. So,
Yeah, no, I agree.
That's
Yeah.
why a lot of people are worried, but
Yeah,
it happens, man.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely
very-
it
It could
happens.
just, it's very possible it's just variance.
they're humans.
Are you freaking out about Will Levis?
Will Levis is also a human.
And wearing blue shirt.
Old blue jeans,
Yeah.
Dude,
old Levi's.
I didn't watch this game, so it's hard for me to weigh in on it. I watched his games last year, and I'm not impressed. I was
Yeah.
never impressed the whole time.
It's well,
So
if you missed
I'll
it,
let you guys.
if
weigh
you
in
missed
on
it,
this
you missed
game.
more of the same.
Okay.
Except maybe worse because
Yeah.
the Bears defense, just like we just talked about Pittsburgh, they're for real.
Yeah. they
Like
could-
that defense is legit.
That's what
and-
won the game for sure.
Yeah,
we
I
all
mean,
saw
absolutely. Caleb Williams didn't even have 100 passing yards, and that
Yeah.
team came back from down 17 and won that game.
Like
Like
it was their defense.
Yeah.
They had a pick six and then
blocks punt for a
Yeah.
touchdown.
yeah.
I mean,
yeah, exactly.
defense definitely carried the Bears, but Levis did nothing to inspire hope personally.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's the same thing. Like I'm worried, but then again, like they can't go away from him. Like they're
Yeah.
like, what are they gonna do?
Mason Rudolph. You already know.
If you're putting Mason
Already
Rudolph
know.
in the game,
Josh isn't watching anymore.
if you're putting Mason
We'll have
Rudolph
more
in the game,
podcasts
you're
if
like,
we don't have to.
you're clearly saying, okay, Levis isn't the guy. We're moving on, and we want to lose as many games as possible.
Yeah.
Well, that's gonna not work out. For him.
No.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't think Levis is going to work out, but
I think I would be not that concerned because Will Levis is still so young,
Yeah.
and I think you're still in the second year. Like we've been saying, is like we believe in that strategy where the Titans are doing is just grab as many guys as you can to get this, make this
Right.
dude be good. And I mean, maybe you could say as like if you knew he wasn't good, if you see him in practice and all that, and you're like, well, like he's extra buns, so like I'm not even worried about him. But like, I think you still just got to give him a chance to see if like it's just gonna get more fluid. I don't think this year was supposed to be the year that they're supposed to be
right.
good.
Yeah, for sure.
It was
That's not the timeline.
It's
I
just
agree.
improving, getting better,
Yep.
getting as a good quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, the year is his, but like my worry didn't change at all because
Yeah.
I was already worried.
Yeah.
Like coming in, I was like just worried about the talent level.
Yeah,
So,
that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, like I agree with what you're saying about that. It's not really the time for him. You know, it's a
Yeah,
building.
they're still building. Even though they still are contending, they're still putting a good team out there. They're just still rebuilding.
I will go back to like Justin Fields, although I think he's pretty good now. So, I changed my mind about that.
yeah,
What changed?
But,
Just jersey color. Whoa.
right?
pretty
But-
much.
But for real, like they've been rebuilding, and they were rebuilding, but they still moved on from him because they just kind of thought he wasn't very good. So
Yeah,
you know, very possible.
it could still happen.
Yeah,
Right,
man. Like
but-
whoever, especially being that he's a second round pick. Look at your guy,
Jaden Daniels.
Sam Howell?
Sam Howell.
He was the
Yeah,
third round pick.
he was the third round pick. Yeah, I know, but like,
Jalen
I'm
Hurts.
just
He
saying.
was a fifth round pick.
Jalen
actually.
Hurts. Oh,
Okay.
was he?
Yeah, Sam Howell was a real late round.
What about Jalen Hurts? Second round pick. That's weird.
Well, they didn't move on from him,
Yet. Yeah. Give it a year or
That's
two.
true. dude. I heard that Kenny Pickett's breathing down his
Shut
neck.
the front door,
Dude,
bro.
I've actually been hearing that Kenny Pickett hands the ball off better than any quarterback that,
Yeah, I
that
heard.
Sirianni's ever seen.
Yeah,
Speaking of Kenny
I heard
Pickett,
he
though,
got small hands.
oh, gee, okay. Speaking of Kenny Pickett, though, that's another example of what I'm saying. Though, is like it seems like teams are moving on really quick from QBs.
Yeah,
So
compared
you
to the
can
past.
say,
You're not finishing your rookie deal anymore if you're not showing.
yeah, right,
Mhm.
for sure.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Could be a little worried about him. I don't think I'm too worried about it. I think it's one game.
Yeah.
Week 1. I don't know why I feel that way about Will Levis but not Kirk Cousins. But maybe I just had so much hype for Kirk Cousins.
Are you freaking out over Bryce Young?
I have a lot of hype about Bryce.
Bryce
Young.
Yeah,
Oof.
I did.
Oof.
He was.
So what's
The Panthers? Oof.
Yeah, the whole thing, dude.
What I mean,
That's just bad.
how do you let Derek Carr come out and just shit talk you up and down the field and drop 3 on your head?
He did
300
that to
yards,
Jace
like-
Warren. He's got 3 on your
Dude,
head.
he let him
said
know.
3 on your head,
How did
bro.
that happen? I didn't see that.
Yeah, he did
Oh yeah,
that.
J.C. Horn came up and was jawing a little bit. He said, "I got 3 on your head,
Yeah,
brother."
he said I got 3 on your head, like, straight up. I'm like, dude,
He's all
you
through
might-
his touchdown.
I'm walking over to the coach and I'm done today. Like that's what it is.
That's
He's
it,
gonna be
brother.
like, no, you get no. I'm
Some
done.
dude with the eyeliner on just cooked me again. He's got 4 on my head now.
Yeah, no, I think they don't have any offense. I don't think that you can say like their defense is trash because that was their last year. That was their thing. They still had a defense.
Yeah, they were somewhat competitive in
Yeah.
games.
but they just couldn't stay on the field on offense. And if you can't stay on their offense, you might as well just not even put a defense in there because they're gonna win at some point.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a matter of time before they get worn down. But Bryce Young did absolutely nothing to inspire hope for me. I thought he was buns coming in. I thought Canales could, save some things there like he did with Baker and Geno.
Yeah.
But I mean, through 1 week, it's bench all Panthers players in my opinion. I don't care if Deontay Johnson gets 20 targets a game. I don't want 8 catches for 25 yards.
Yeah.
Because I just think that's the kind of offense it's going to end up being.
Well, 8 catches for 25 yards isn't bad. I would say 8 targets because he's not getting 8 catches.
Yeah, Bryce Young is not completing 8 passes.
But yeah, I think I got Chuba Hubbard in the league. I think I'm done with him. Like he's not even supposed to be in when Jonathan Brooks comes back.
Yeah.
He's not even gonna. They're not even gonna be running the ball. They're gonna be playing down all the time. I guess.
That's a good point that you bring up about Jonathan Brooks. Like, are you concerned about having him in the game?
I'll be concerned about
Whenever he
everybody on
comes
the
back.
Panthers. Everybody on the Panthers. Again.
I'll say
DEFCON
it can
4,
only
whatever
help.
it is.
And I'm not worried from the standpoint of you can never play Jonathan Brooks because if they do what they probably should do, Jonathan Brooks should be one of those 95% snap share running backs once he's healthy
Yeah.
because Chuba and Miles Sanders just aren't guys.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it a few times where if you're on one of those bottom tier offenses, you have to be a 95% snap share running back. And I think he'll get to that by the end of the season.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's the touchdown upside's definitely not there for any single player on that team.
Yeah. Yeah. Really, not a lot to talk about with them. I think everybody would agree. Panthers just.
Yeah, Panthers are going to have the number 1 pick again.
Well, they didn't.
I'm just
They'll
wondering-
earn the number 1 pick. They'll probably trade it away for, a middle linebacker or a running back. But
Yeah.
Let's say you're looking for the silver lining. Let's say, hypothetically, you own Bryce Young.
I don't know if there is a silver lining. I can't find it.
That's what I'm trying to look at. Like, what is the redeeming quality
I
that
don't-
Bryce Young is offering you? Like, what are you looking and say, oh, that's what makes this guy good? To me, there's nothing, though.
I didn't really get to watch it. I was watching Red Zone, and obviously they're not going to show a blowout on that. So, but I didn't really get to see how Bryce Young actually played. I can see his stats, and they absolutely sucked. So the only thing is he's probably still going to start. He was still a number 1 pick. Like he's going to start for at least this year.
That's what I was going to say is the silver lining would be if it's Dynasty, you might be able to buy him cheap now.
Yeah.
If somebody has Bryce Young as their 3rd or 4th quarterback and you go and offer them a second this year, right this second,
And they take it.
there's a decent chance they take it and you can say, okay, I have a person who will play quarterback for the next 2 years. Because even if the Panthers have the number 1 pick in this class, it doesn't look like there's going to be a quarterback. I mean, maybe Cam Ward. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a few guys and names hopping around, but there's nobody touted even nearly as highly as Bryce Young was.
Yeah.
And obviously, he hasn't shown anything to say that he's that level of player that he was in college at Alabama, but I think he should be safe for another year.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say he's safe, but and I mean you gotta think they really don't have a talented team around them. Like they don't have a good line, they don't have good weapons. Like
It's rough.
Yeah.
It really is rough right now.
Yeah.
But they're young. I mean,
They are young. Young,
it could get better.
dumb.
They are young. Bryce Young.
Bryce Young. That's not the kind of young you want to be, though. You don't want to be Bryce Young.
Are you freaking out over Aaron Rodgers?
So you're saying Aaron Rodgers, who we're talking about? You think he should have came out and said, "Relax"?
You said he did say that.
Well, yeah,
No,
but
not
when he
this
was on the
week.
Packers,
Yeah,
that's when
back
he won
in the day.
MVP. He said, "Relax," and then he was like, "All right."
So he didn't say that just now.
No, he did
No.
not. What he should be
Now
saying
I'm
is, what he should say is, dude, you guys need to be worried because this is the freaking Jets.
Yeah.
Like, the Jets. Garrett Wilson even said it after the game. He
He
said,
said we got our asses whooped.
we got our asses whooped. Like, we played a real Super Bowl contender, and it was very clear that's not what we are.
That's what he said.
Yeah, like he
Wow.
said, we're not at that level yet.
Dude, I think if you really, like, let's say we're on the team with the Jets, and you're hearing what he's saying is basically what I'm hearing is we need to get way better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Not that we're not capable of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I
Like
agree.
we're not there right
Yep.
now. And who can argue with that?
No,
they're
yeah,
obviously
you can't.
not.
You can't.
Yeah, clearly they're not. I mean, we saw one vintage Rodgers kind of drive Friday night, and it was Monday night. Sorry,
Right, yeah, okay.
Dude,
When-
when
whatever.
the back, when
There's
the
too many
backups are in,
dang primetime games now. All right, I don't need one every night. All right, and they need to start at 7. I'm sounding old, and I'm falling asleep by about 11 o'clock nowadays,
You're getting
man.
old, man.
We're hitting the fourth quarter, and I'm cooked.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
we
no,
just
I'm-
need. I'm moving out to the West Coast,
There you go.
so that's earlier.
9 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to wake up early enough to watch the 1 o'clock games, though.
But no, I'm worried about Rodgers to the extent of the athleticism is clearly sapped a little bit.
Mm.
Like, and it might not just be the Achilles. He's also 40 years old.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be one thing doing it. It's just, it's been 2 years since he played a lot of football, and
He
he's
does
coming off of
mushrooms all the time.
Yeah, I mean, this guy does more drugs than I do. Like, he
You
does
know that?
the ayahuasca. That's his thing.
Yeah.
He's been on the Joe Rogan podcast, so it
Yeah,
makes
talking
sense.
about dark
Yeah, it does
rooms
make
and
sense.
stuff. Yeah.
But no, I'm worried about Rodgers a little bit. I'll give it like a 3.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about him. This is where he was supposed to be last year, week 1.
Right.
And I think if he would have had that last year, week 1, everybody would have been like, he's getting used to a new team. Like, he doesn't have Adams, like all this other stuff. Everybody would be like, I'm not worried. So I think since this is where he's supposed to be, like, I agree. Unless he came out and said, dude, all Jets quarterbacks suck. Like, I'm
Me
done.
included.
I'm done after this. Like, just give up on the Jets, sell the team,
I will say this.
move them to Canada.
I agree that it's like this is where he was supposed to be last year, week 1, and they haven't had a ton of reps together against real teams. Why aren't you playing in the preseason?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why are you
I
saying
wanted to bring that
preseason
up.
doesn't matter? It's not
Yeah.
for guys like me. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Preseason is so you don't get your ass whooped week 1 when you play a real team that isn't taking it easy and not allowed to hit you.
I agree.
Yeah.
So
One thing about Kirk Cousins, when we were talking about him, he wanted to play in the preseason,
yeah,
and they wouldn't let him.
they didn't even let Michael Penix play. What are you doing?
Yeah.
So I think
What
there
else
might be
is
something
what
to
else is
that.
Michael
I
Penix
don't
there
know.
for? Like it's I
At
mean
the same time, though, you look at Bo Nix. He played the preseason every game and did good.
Yeah.
So it's
Well, he didn't do that good week 1, but
no. I'm saying
Oh,
he did.
yeah,
good
in preseason he looked decent.
He
but
did.
he was
So
yeah.
it's like-
I agree with that. You need to get connection with these guys.
I think so too.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, it's football's such a timing based game, especially
Yeah.
on offense. Like, you need to. It was clear he had the timing down with Alan Lazard because he's been throwing Alan Lazard the ball for
Yeah.
10
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, but you have Mike Williams coming in on plays. Garrett Wilson, you've played 4 snaps of football with before.
Yeah.
4 snaps.
Yeah.
Like, and that's your number one, supposed to be the guy. I don't know. Rodgers can't get out of his own way, in my opinion. He does. It's a foot in his own mouth kind of situation.
Well, and they like there's a lot of strategy with like getting the the round 1 bye or whatever in playoffs.
Right.
Like you get number 1 seed. So like a lot of people don't like it, dude. You want to keep going and just keep rolling into the freaking yeah. And like you said with Lazard, like he freaking cooked it. But you're right, like just a lot of chemistry there.
Yep.
Are you freaking out over Joe Burrow?
I'm slightly worried about Joe Burrow. Like, I feel like what we've seen in the last year and a half has been below the standard we think of when we think of Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
And, there's been plenty of excuses that can be made. He's had multiple injuries. he's had one receiver not showing up to camp, and then the other not showing up to camp, and one's hurt, and the other one decides not to show up again, arguing for a contract. It just it didn't seem like he took the easy things to me when I watched that game. And I don't necessarily think the Patriots are a fantastic defense. I think Gonzalez is a hell of a corner. He did a great job on Jamar Chase. Only allowed 3 catches for 14 yards the entire game against him.
Yeah.
Had a pretty sick quote post game. He said he's not getting that new bag on me. Not against me. That's nice. I like that. That's pretty tough. But it should get better when T. Higgins comes back. I think that team desperately missed Joe Mixon. Having a reliable running back for 3rd and short and things like that.
He killed it too.
Yeah, he looked amazing for Houston. Everybody looked amazing in Houston. I mean, they got a great system out there. But it looked like Zach Moss was taking the majority of the work. So, I mean, there's one thing to take from that is Zach Moss is probably the better play than Chase Brown right now. Yeah. But I'll give it like a 3 as well. I'm not overly worried long term about Joe Burrow, but I'm not starting him in fantasy for the next few weeks. He's going to have to prove it to me again.
I think this is about the same thing he did last year, right?
Oh, yeah. Week 1, they were terrible last year.
And so, he got, benched last year. So, I think it's just a Joe Burrow thing. I think it just, I don't know. I think he just needs to lock in. He needs to do something, change his hair color again. I don't know. Do something, but I'm just not worried about it just because I don't know. Maybe he just he's Joe Cool, right? I don't know. There's just something about him that makes me think he'll pick it up.
Dude, I'm here to tell you, when you get a nice haircut.
Well, he didn't get a nice one. So.
I know that.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is when you have a nice haircut, your life is better.
Oh, absolutely, dude.
Fair.
Confidence level, sky high. You feel good about yourself. People look at you, you're like, oh, you're well kept, put together.
People treat you better. They just have more respect.
When you roll up you're, from 8 Mile and right off the street,
I see what you're.
I'm gonna try to hit you a little harder from rushing the edge, and I see that stupid bleached buzz cut.
This white trash dude, he ain't got nothing on me, dude. I'm just gonna sack him. Dude, he looks legit though with a something like what.
Are you saying that we should be worried? Because
he needs to get a better haircut. That's what I'm saying.
But listen, that's the thing. It can only get better as it grows out and the bleach goes away, right?
Yeah.
And it starts going back to that
I'm just saying his confidence.
About week 6, 7, that's when he's gonna start getting back in his groove.
There might be something to this because Justin Herbert also shaved his head right around the time he started not looking as good last year. He was looking real good and had the long locks for a year and a half. And then about mid-season last year, he cut it real short and it was Kirby. What are we doing here, bud?
Could be like Solomon cut off all of his power. In the Bible or whatever. They cut off Samson. Yeah,
that's a Grateful Dead song. Speaking of which.
Oh my gosh.
My shirt. You know what? I'm taking the Devontae Smith shirt off now.
Good. Get that thing out of here, man. We don't need that here.
Only took you an hour and 16
You're
minutes.
talking about Solomon and Delilah. That's a Grateful Dead song.
Okay. I'm just saying, it was the locks you cut off and he cut off all his power. That's all.
So this reinforces my point. Imagine I'm walking up to you in the Devontae Smith shirt. All of a sudden, hey, that guy, he's pretty cool. I walk up to you in this,
don't say
what
it.
have you?
Don't say it.
You're going to be like,
Please
what in the F is this idiot?
Yeah,
is he doing a
what I'm
podcast right now?
That's exactly
What
what
the
I'm
F?
saying. It looks like Terrapin. It looks like a Ravens support shirt because the Terrapin Maryland, and then you got Baltimore colors. I don't know. There's just something about it that's
looks good.
It looks stupid.
Well, what do the kids say nowadays? Very demure.
Demure.
Good stuff. Okay, I never heard that, but that's.
I think it means gay.
Okay.
Are you freaking out over Dalton Kincaid?
So we're doing Dalton Kincaid with the Bills.
The Buffalo Bills.
The Buffalo Bills.
The Buffalo Bills.
The Buffaloes.
The Bills.
Worried. Yeah, worried because I'm worried about the Bills in general. I just don't think they're really that great this year. I think they're just going to be kind of just trying to wing it with Josh Allen.
I agree with that. It's definitely going to be the Josh Allen show and more of a whoever offense kind of deal. It's going to be whatever Josh deems is the right move.
Yeah.
However, I'm not worried about Kincaid because I think Josh Allen's a good enough quarterback to know that Dalton Kincaid is the best receiving option on that team.
Mm-hmm.
And, they guarded, he was guarded
call
like the number one receiving option on the Bills.
I'm
He
never
really
going to
was.
call Josh Allen smart. I definitely will not call him that. He turns the ball over way too much to call him smart.
Well, I'd also call him reckless. I'd definitely be willing to call him reckless.
Stupid. That's what I'm going with.
But it's good for fantasy football. In my opinion.
Yeah,
Like the more shots he's taking downfield, the more he's peppering the talented players. Like Kincaid's going to be more involved going forward. He just is, because the Bills, like, long term, cannot win by saying, "Hey, Josh Allen, you have 15 carries for 90 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns," where you're hurdling somebody and then trucking through 3 guys. Like, that's not the answer at Josh Allen at 28, 29 years old now. Like, it's
I think that's the only way he's going to be good, though.
Oh yeah, I mean, for fantasy, like that's what he's gonna do.
Yeah.
He's gonna dominate that way because that's who Josh Allen is. But yeah, I mean, I've just seen too many high volume like passing games from him, touchdown wise, to not be able to say, okay, this guy's the most talented player on the team, and he's the position that normally dominates red zone target share.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be a Mark Andrews thing where it's like they're.
Oh yeah, I mean, he's definitely going to get the best coverage. We'll get to see if he's a truly transcendent talent or not, or if he's just a good player in a good situation.
Are there any tight ends that are really transcendent beyond? Like, if I feel like any defense can take out even Travis Kelce. They can take out Travis Kelce whenever they want to.
If they want.
Maybe 35-year-old Travis Kelce. I think 30-year-old Travis Kelce is a different story.
Yeah, I was just watching a play where like he was running around. I think 21. I don't know who that is on the Ravens. He cooked them on a route. Like it was just backyard recess bullcrap, and he just got. I don't know. I think that. But if you said, look, we're gonna game plan, we're putting 2 guys on him. Yeah, I think you can lock up anybody on the offense.
But no, I've seen videos of like Devontae Adams,
right,
cooking 2-man coverage, bracket coverage, and Teddy Brown used to do that all the time.
Megatron.
I don't think, Megatron.
You don't think you can do that?
I don't think tight ends it's quite like that. But
I'll agree and disagree. I agree from a fantasy standpoint that it's harder to be a transcendent talent at that position. However, I disagree that there is still transcendent like level talents. Like I would call George Kittle a transcendent tight end talent because he dominates in a football way. But for fantasy, it just doesn't always translate.
Yeah,
it's definitely much harder to break through that. I mean,
dude, because if I'm a coach and I can see that they're making sure that Travis Kelce isn't catching any passes, and let's say it's George Kittle instead. George Kittle's going to be blocking because he's a great blocker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like,
okay, I'll
he's
use him this
still
way.
worth his money for me.
Yeah,
true.
Absolutely.
I'm driving my sandal.
Yeah, I think going into this year, everybody was like, "Man, there's like 7, 8 tight ends. I'm like really confident in this year." And it turns out, it wasn't like the cream's rising to the top. It was like the ship is sinking. Like just the top level of tight ends now. It's like Gronk's gone. We got Kelce at 35 years old with way more weapons on Kansas City now that they've had the last couple years. I mean, maybe that's just where it's going. It's
just like a big blob
of guys,
a bunch of
mix
all the colors together and it turns into gray.
Yeah, I mean, the Saints had 2 top 4 scoring tight ends in fantasy this week, and neither of them were the starter on the team.
Juwan Johnson. See one of them?
No, it was whoever's behind them. The 2 guys behind
Foster
them.
Moreau.
Yeah, Moreau and some other guy. They both just caught a touchdown. And that's literally all it took this week. There was 3 players that scored over 11 fantasy points. Yeah. Speaking of bonkers throws, did you guys see the Alec Pierce touchdown from Anthony Richardson?
Yeah.
He traveled 66.5 air yards.
There was like 2 of them.
Oh, wait, there's another